national media people know college football is better when Miami is good, but they hate us.
It's a little bit of both. There is some haterade popping up, in this dancery from other people, national pundits and whatnot, but that's to be expected. Again, we are all we need and we are all we've got. People love to hate us. You know what I mean? I get it. I get it. We've ruined the dreams of so many teams. And I mean, not even recently. We're talking about in the past, but people of our age are thinking, man, I remember back in the 80s, we had a really good team. And then we played Miami and they blew our doors off. Or back in the 90s or, in the early 2000s, you're hearkening back a quarter century or more. But there are so many people who have negative memories of Miami Hurricanes teams kicking their team's teeth in. And just in general, the bad boys of college football playing the way that we played, talking the way that we talked, dancing and celebrating the way that we danced all the way through and everything up to and especially including there was that game against Notre Dame in the early 80s with that coach who was on his way out and we ran the score up.
Jerry Faust.
Yeah, his last game. Cool. Bye. Get out of here. Everybody remembers the 1991 Cotton Bowl against Texas, they're a major brand. That's the University of Texas. Texas, you're not going to do that to Texas. Beating Nebraska all the time. Beating Oklahoma all the time. It was funny. I saw somebody, Ed Maisonette, Ed the Sports Fan, a national columnist. I've been following him since he was a blogger way back in the day, watching his career. He's doing great things. Shout out to him. He's a native Oklahoman. And he was like, we're talking about the best teams in the country, and people from Oklahoma should hate Miami. They've kept Oklahoma from 2, 3, 4 extra national championships. You even look at the Sam Bradford when they came down here, and Ray Armstrong is a true freshman, baptized DeMarco Murray when he hurdled over somebody that was down, a defensive lineman down, going through, and then Ray Armstrong wearing number 26, and he goes and he celebrates his first big hit as a freshman, 6'4", 220 safety, wearing Sean Taylor's number. Yeah, like that. He's like, yo, we should hate Miami. But it's been so long that I guess the feelings have waned and everything. But when people start really reaching back and talking about the top teams, see, well, there was a time that Miami kept us from it, and it's embedded in them. And I'm okay with that. If they hate, let them hate and watch the money pile up. I don't need you to like me. And I say all that to get back to exactly where I was leading. And this is a hashtag that I have used and will continue. Let's be jerks. Because if they want to hate, then let them hate. Give them something to hate on. Blow them out. Go up to the Swamp last year. Blow them out. Beat Notre Dame at home. You know what I mean? If they want to hate, I'll give them something to hate on. So I'm fine with it. But yeah, if they want to hate on us, that's fine. We're focused, especially the team. The team is really, it seems to me on the outside, dialed in, locked in. Again, they're human. They go to class. They have professors. They have family members. They hear the talk. So I'm not going to say they don't hear it or they're just in a silo somewhere by themselves. They live in the society and they're people. But they shrug it off. Appreciate it. We played a really good game. Going back to the facility, we're going to work on what we got to work on, and keep playing to the level that we're playing at, and let everybody else hate on it. Fine.
All right, Cam. I'm going to push back one more time.
Oh God! Again? What did I do this time?
Push back on this one. So I'm curious to hear what your take on this. So much like the first guy that comes to mind, you could throw out Muhammad Ali, you could throw out Joe Namath, basically industry trendsetters. Guys that broke through. So we'll stick with football. I'm even too young to remember Joe Namath playing. So, but we've seen the NFL films, guy wearing fur coats and sunglasses and white shoes when nobody wore white shoes and that sort of thing. Pantyhose commercials, just, a guy that was his own man and, upset people. So for Miami football, obviously it was, and the epitome of that, one of many, was the Cotton Bowl in 1991 that you outlined, because Texas actually, had they won that game, they would have had an argument to win the national championship. But the game was just a complete, an utter annihilation.
Yeah.
I'm old enough. I watched it, and Miami didn't care that they could have won. I think it was 46-3. They could have won 70-3
Mm-hmm.
if they wouldn't have had. They just racked up 220 yards of penalty. They didn't care. They did not care. So that program started by Howard Schnellenberger, and it kept this attitude, this vibe, regardless who the coach was, for a long, long time, because of the athletes and because it was established as a Miami thing of how you approached the game, how you talked, how you did all these things. Okay. And Miami, much like the Fab Five in basketball, can be credited with changing sports culture within their sport. And so 10, 12 years later, you can go point to any team in America, any big team, and see players doing things that Miami players did a decade and a half earlier that was a big deal that's no longer a big deal. Right. And obviously then there were restrictions put into the place.
The Miami rule, you can say it. It's okay.
Yeah, the Miami rule. Yeah, you can't celebrate, you can't do this, you can't taunt, you can't do this. Yeah. So if Miami, again, and they are in the ascension, we'll have to see if they complete it here this season or whenever. I think it's pretty inevitable at some point, and most likely this year, that this is a playoff team minimum. Okay. That this, how are they any different than anybody else now from an attitude, image standpoint? Like if somebody just started watching college football 3 years ago and just started watching, how would they recognize Miami's any different as opposed to the person who started watching college football in 1990 or 1985 and saw, they're different.
Right. I don't think that we're different, but like the personality of players and teams it was started by Miami. So everybody's where we were. And so like that is now like the general state of affairs. But like, like different in that kind of way. I don't believe really that we are. I mean, there's more players going across the country to different places, more South Florida players on different teams in different places, things like that. So like that kind of, exuberance and attitude, is pervasive across the sport. But yeah, I don't think that we're much different. But I also think that that's just kind of the fact that we planted the seed that's grown into the trees of like what you're seeing everywhere else. So like everyone else is like us, not we're like everyone else, if that makes sense. But but regardless of how we got there, it's more homogenized.
Okay, well put.
Thank you. I tried.
All right. We do appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football.